Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you live, 106 Best Coast time. Very excited for the show that we have for you today. We have an excellent guest who has been on a tear, and I mean a literal tear of just about every competition there has been within the past few weeks. You name it, he's been on it. But before we get there, I want to do a quick little reminder to you guys of a little initiative that we're doing post-COVID. Even we're still not done with COVID, but what we're doing to remind people is to help out with what we're seeing with people going on who have been struggling. We are asking you guys to take out one of these little Post-its, write the names of 3 persons, places, or things that are jiu-jitsu related and find ways to support them. If it's local business, even better. So that means if you have the financial means to buy a DVD from a guy who's, also a gym owner, that's always great. We also ask that maybe you buy some privates or some seminars, whatever you can do to go ahead and make up for some of the lost wages that people had during the COVID age. Also, if you don't have the financial means, and I totally get it, one of the easiest things that you can do is you can go ahead and find ways to volunteer for your gym, to find out ways that you can help out some of your friends. You can always volunteer your time and your thoughts. And if you can't do any of those things, totally understand. It's a wacky time. Simplest thing you can do is check in on your teammates. You may not be training with them every single day, but we talk about mental health, and I think it's really important that we make an effort to continue checking in on our training partners and making sure that they're still in good standings just because we don't see them every single day. That's what I got for you guys today. All right, let's talk about our guest. What do I say? This kid's impressive, man. I mean, it's annoying how good he is to some degree, but then it's also equally as heartwarming when you see how hard he works, how focused he is when he's giving you these matches. And I have not told him this yet, but he already got one of our first match of the weeks, and he got another one this week. So I feel like at this point, we might just name it the Roberto Jimenez Award for Excellence in Grappling. But for right now, we're just going to bring him on. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Roberto Jimenez. Roberto, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Nice. Thank you for having me on, Raph.
It's good to see you, man. I mean, I run into you all the time, and I got to tell you, man, one of the most exciting things that you hear as we see so many people competing and getting out there and doing things is you were actively on almost every card the past 4 weeks.
Yeah. I think this was my 4th or 5th event in a row since tournaments honestly started coming back up. And I think I was bound to get one. I've been making to the finals in almost all the events in the last couple of weeks.
Well, you made it to finals. You were on Submission Underground. You were on Jits Kings. You were on another Kumite. You basically were on anything and everything, but you still did super well, though. Let's talk about a couple of these. You did super well at Jits Kings. You've been on a tear. I'll tell you this right now, and I need to be very blunt with you. I need you to keep your triangle as far away as possible from me at all times.
I'll try to not fly into it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the funniest thing to me is I'm now using you as a reference guide to my friends and telling them listen, I need you guys to watch this guy's triangle details, because part of it is not just your ability to fly into things, it's your technical mechanics. I saw your breakdown with Chael and John and Craig Jones, and I thought you did a really good explanation of the smaller details that make the difference between getting it and losing it.
I appreciate that. It's honestly a technique. Like the triangle, it always appealed to me since I was a little kid, and now that I've been able to get older and analyze techniques a little better.
Have a slight drop off. He should be returning here in just a second. So let's see. He might have actually just turned off that. I think he came back on. I can hear him.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep. I'm here with you, bud. I just don't see you.
Let me see the camera real quick.
And I think you should be coming back in a... Oh, nope, he's out. All right, Roberto will be signing back in momentarily. Thank you guys for sharing it. We appreciate it. I'm very excited to be talking with one Roberto Jimenez. So if you guys haven't been keeping up to date, he's been on everything. Jits Kings, Kumite, Submission Underground, just won this weekend at the Kumite, but he was talking about the triangle details. What specifically did you say? You said it appealed to you when you were a young child.
Yeah, so some of the techniques I've been doing a lot recently are just techniques that I favored since I'm little, and I've been able to use them consistently throughout my growth in the competition scene. And I think just breaking them down to analyze how my body fits into them has helped me be able to apply them a lot better the last couple of years and the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I'm happy to be able to start knowing what I'm doing instead of just doing it, if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, of course, when you start up as a kid, because you've been doing jiu-jitsu since you've been about 5, sometimes you just go out there like a little jiu-jitsu murder robot, and you don't know necessarily what you're doing. You're just like, I should just try and submit this guy. But as you get older and you refine, one of the things that I really like about you that I've heard you say in other interviews is how much tape study you do. And for me, that's the major difference. Even when I'm doing rolling with my friends, it's huge for me.
Yeah, it's super important to do tape study. I believe in it. I don't think one thing I learned with Lucas Lepri is that it's not good to overly study your opponents.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good to know what they're going to do, but more than anything, you want to study what you're going to do. Like study what you've done in the past and that's worked, and the things that you've tried that maybe held you back or didn't work at that moment in time.
Yeah,
if you tried it, obviously subconsciously or consciously, you are aware of that technique. And if you break it down a little bit on how your opponent defended it, eventually you'll be able to hit it. I think it's a wall that you don't want to just avoid the wall if it's there. It's almost like saying, so I'm not good at leg locks, I'm going to avoid leg locks. No, everybody's doing leg locks. So it's better just to open the door and say, okay, I'm going through this and I need to learn it. If not, I'm going to get left behind. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a thing because there are some guys who do zero tape study, and I usually make them an offer, which is always like, if I do it or one of my friends does it, I go, how about, even if you don't believe in it, do your own tape study for yourself and let some coaches or some friends give you some pointers or advice just so that you're aware of what they're going to do. Because I feel going in with zero game plan is kind of crazy considering how much intelligence and footage there is out there to at least develop an idea to go with and then be open to doing whatever happens once the match goes.
Definitely. You don't want to be clueless. Yeah. You don't want to be just like a deer in headlights out there, especially as I guess I get higher up on the competition scene. I wanna do my best. So my dreams are starting to become more clear and like more capable of becoming reality. And I don't want that to slip by when it comes by, because some opportunities only come by once in a lifetime. So, I think it's good to do tape study. Everybody has to find their own way of doing it. You don't have to go crazy over it, but to avoid it is to be ignorant to the fact that it is helpful.
Well, I see we just got a share from one Raul Jimenez. So I guess I should be asking, right now you're in a car. You just competed out in Texas. I think you're probably going to be, finding a flight out this way?
Yeah, I'm heading out in an hour and a half to the airport. Soon my flight leaves in an hour and a half. So I'm picking up my dad right now from a tattoo shop. And I just finished doing some wrestling training.
So do you know what tattoo your dad is getting today?
Honestly, I think he's just getting some work done on one of his original tattoos. But every time we're here, we have one of the guys from our academy, the old academy we used to teach at.
Mm-hmm.
He's a real cool guy, Russ. He owns a tattoo shop here in Spring, Texas, and he did one of my tattoos as well, my second tattoo ever. So we trust him, and we put our trust in his hands so that he can put some good ink on us. Yeah.
So I've got 2 questions here. The first of which is this. The first question is, when you're training with your dad and he comes back from having the tattoo on there, do you take it a little easier on him because he needs to have it heal, or are you one of the guys who goes, I can just get him on his back, he's got to deal with that as well?
Yeah, no, we mess around. I mean, he'll probably chill out for a minute, but when I don't know, maybe he'll come back on and I'll mess with him. Get the tattoo a little messed up. But I remember when I got my first tattoo done, I did it 2 weeks before Nogi Worlds, and I kept going through the camp and ended up competing with a fresh tattoo on my shoulder.
I mean,
so I don't think it really matters. I think we know. At least he does. He's really tough. So I think he knows how to handle the tattoos with solutions so that they don't fade off. He can still train somewhat.
fair enough. I had a couple of my friends who fight for a living go get tattoos and then came back a little early from jiu-jitsu, and I had the selfish choice of, do I go harder or easier on them? And these are people who always go hard on me, and I was like, well, I mean, I know their leg's going to be messed up, so anyway, I just wanted to ask that. And when did you get your tattoos? Because I saw it when you were competing over the weekend. What are those tattoos?
So the first one says Arte Suave on my left shoulder, and I did that when I was like 17 years old, I think, like right after my birthday. No, not right after, but 17 years old before Nogi Worlds. And then the other one, it says believe in traditional Japanese writing. So that one was for after Worlds 2018, and kind of a message to myself to, like, believe in your dream. Anything's possible. Yeah.
Well, speaking about messages, dude, I want you to I was going to ask, do you mind sharing what it is that you said after winning this weekend's Kumite? And then we'll get into a little bit of that discussion.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like I don't want to take for granted the opportunity to be able to say something after an event, or if I'm able to, after I'm able to win a big title or a big tournament. I think it's good to use that how would you call it?
Like a platform?
That platform to say something positive, because I remember being a little kid and looking up to my heroes in the sport, and just like certain aspects of how they upheld themselves or the things that they would say made me appeal to wanting to pursue this as my lifestyle. So I feel I've been able to see kids from where I grew up here in Texas, from in Vegas, from Ecuador, come up to me and say that they look up to me. So that I feel like I have a responsibility to myself as an athlete and a role model, I guess, to what I said was, don't live in fear. You only have one life. So why choose to live in fear and let somebody who doesn't really care about you as an individual, even as a person, dictate whether you can go outside or go eat at a restaurant wearing a mask? If you have that opportunity, that privilege of being able to live in a country where you are able to go to a restaurant and you're able to go to a grocery store, with some countries you don't have that privilege, and then you have to wear this mask for something that you're not really too, it makes it, I'm just very enraged at the whole situation that we're in, or we're all going through right now, with the corona, with the protesting, I feel like they're just trying to frustrate our society and try to make people follow one individual or the other because this guy says that or that. Who cares? At the end of the day, does that affect you directly on how you have to behave towards somebody else? No. I mean, me personally, I don't think I'm white. I don't think anything. Whatever. I think I am a kid who kept training jiu-jitsu, and I've been able to see the world. And that's my message that I want to give to everybody else. But you can't. I would not be able to do the things, or be able to do the things that I'm doing now if I was living in fear. I mean, I'm scared of doing things, but I'm not gonna let that dictate how I take my actions in my life. That's what I wanted to communicate last night. It's a weird time that we're living in, and especially for all the kids that are growing up in this era, they need to know that sometimes what the TV tells you is just a bunch of bullshit, and you can't let that dictate how you live your life. I like to compare my situations to like being a superhero, like Goku from Dragon Ball Z, or Naruto from Naruto. Like the underdog that was always bullied or looked down on for being different, and at the end of the day, he brushes it off and tries to do his thing and show them with actions that, yeah, you said this, but I'm gonna do this because I know this is right. And if somebody else agrees with me, go on. And if you don't, then you don't, and you find your way. But don't let people who don't care about you tell you what to do. Is what I'm saying.
Understandable. Let's go ahead and take down a part of your matches, because I really want to give you a lot of compliments, because you started off with a hell of a match with Ty Rotolo. Can you tell me a little bit about that match? Did it go as you kind of expected? Because he's also a young standout as well.
Yeah, man, Ty's a hell of a fighter. I respect him a lot inside and out of the mat, and I feel like I knew first ahead of the match that it was going to be a scrap, and more than anything, it was going to be a technical fight, and whoever was more in tune during the fight was going to win. I feel like I had more experience also at this level the last couple months, so that helped me out a lot to stay calm. And man, he's almost, he's there already. He's I think 2 years younger than me, so it was a privilege and an honor to be able to like fight against him. Somebody who they mentioned to me, I think Penn Kids this year before my fight with Keenan. Um, I saw them and they said something about like sorry, that they look up to me, and I said the tables have turned because I used to look up to you guys. I still do. So it's cool, I guess, to have that mutual respect and fight each other. And that fight is a fight. He hopes to win, and I hope to win. And it was my night last night. So yeah, I honestly, that was probably my 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 favorite fight of the night, in my opinion, because it was technical. I had him in danger. He had me tight at some point with the leg locks as well. But like I said, I'm losing fear of the fight. So as long as I have an answer to everybody's action, then I feel like I'll be good. Um, just like he's getting into finding his game, I'm finding my game, and yeah, I feel like we're gonna do really good in our weight classes and our divisions in the next couple of years.
Well, I mean, if we're being honest, between you and him, William Tackett putting on a hell of a match a couple weeks ago, the future looks bright. And I think one of the things specifically for Ty Rotolo and yours match that really made me very happy is you do see certain black belts or certain practitioners start to get a little weary. Instead of, trying to go out there and give us a show, they get a little bit more aware of their positions and pull back a little bit because they're afraid of how they're going to look. What I see with you guys right now is, you're trying to get not only the win, but to really put on a true display of martial arts. And I think that for us, that translates at home, because I watch it and I think, wow, this is a really good match.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm I really aspire to work towards what Rickson Gracie said, which is your goal in jiu-jitsu should be to be invincible. And the way I take that is, I have to work on my wrestling. I have to work on my leg locks. I have to work on my back takes. I have to work on my submission adjustments. I just need to adjust everything so that the machine has no flaws. And I mean, that's it, man. I feel like the people I looked up to growing up, like Bushesha, Lucas, Rose Gracie, Rickson Gracie, they have a philosophy which is you want to fight like you're fighting for your life, but also that means thinking with your brain, uh, and at the same time, kind of not thinking, kind of like being in the moment. But you can't do that unless you have everything adjusted and have worked for every position possible. So, man, I'm excited. I feel like my how do you say my goal is to be able to have a response for everything and also be able to apply any kind of game on anyone. So, uh, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, and
Cool
that's
stuff.
what I'm working for.
Let's talk about your match versus John Combs, because I also knew that would be a really fun match to watch, and it was. And I think that you had a couple really good moments in terms of breaking down his posture. I've rolled with John. He's tough for me, and there's a body difference in style and type, and I have to be on my P's and Q's just to live when I'm rolling with him. So I know that he could be a very difficult roll. But you did a really good job of not only breaking his posture, but kind of throwing him a little bit off his game.
Yeah, so I know John had a very respectable guillotine, and he's an explosive fighter. He's a kind of a wild card. He'll be calm and then explode, calm and explode. So I knew with him, I had to play kind of like a top game and kind of not pay attention so much to the see not stress about the guillotine with him. Um, man, John came in a lot stronger than I was expecting. He's one of those athletes you can't underestimate because he can come up with something out of nowhere. But with him, I felt like I was able to apply the body lock very well, and this blocked his guillotine, which eventually got me to the back. And man, he has a very good no-gi defense for the back. So I was a little disappointed that I wasn't able to finish the fight once I took his back, but I was able to apply triangle close to the end. Not enough time to finish as well. But once we went into overtime, I think I saw the same opening. It was pretty much the same opening that I saw in regulation, but I think he was mentally exhausted by then. So it was good to be able to catch that in the overtime, which I wish it was regulation, but it is what it is. I'm learning to respect the overtime too. If you can't finish in regulation time, doesn't mean that you've lost. It means that you just have to stay in the game so that you can get that win because you still have the opportunity to. It's just I think I got frustrated the last couple of events going into overtime or not being able to finish in regulation, and I think maybe 60% of the fight itself is fighting with you with your head, like against yourself, and also being mentally more mentally resistant to beating yourself up during the fight. Because if you're your biggest enemy and your biggest ally at the same time, I believe.
Absolutely. One of the hardest things I find with so many of my friends is when you have perspective and they go out there and compete. Half the time my job is always to be like, hey, listen, dude, I've got an outside perspective. I can see what's going on with your head. Before you even get out there, you have to figure this out. Because if you don't have this, you've already given them a win.
Right. Yeah, it's a game of inches, definitely.
Talk to me about you versus Wagner, because on paper, you were starting to do something that I was excited about, which is I was yelling at home the minute you were starting to take a little bit of his back. I was like, this is the one person you can go ahead and start doing the cover the mouth for and not feel bad about it at all.
Man, I actually tried to do it a little bit. I took his back in the last 30 seconds, I believe, of the match. So I didn't have much time. And I tried to, if I heard you right, I tried to do the face cover so I could lift his face up and get my hand inside for the rear naked choke, but I just couldn't get it in time.
Hey, but
Maybe next time I'll try to just go for the full hand in the face.
hey, listen, dude. I mean, the funniest thing about you is you're a nice kid. You've always been nothing but positive vibes and very nice and complimentary every time we run into each other. But I know that I look at you when I see you compete, and you have a competition side, and that's perfectly fine. But when I see Wagner, I always think like, yeah, everything's legal. This is as close as you get almost to a fight with him, because his clubs are sometimes they look like strikes, you know?
Yeah, man, I like the song that he walked out to. That goes everything because I'm a thug. I don't know the lyrics, but it goes like, baby, because I'm a thug. And when he comes out, you are kind of fighting like a thug guy. So, man, what can I say? That's his style of fighting. I think it's a little dirty, but you can't let it get to your head. That's the whole. That's the whole point of. That's the whole point of having yourself as an ally mentally to help you reinforce. Like, he's showing me that he's not mentally there. If he has to apply all these extra like tricks to want to break me, if it's not technical, then he's doing it with strength or with his trying to talk in the middle of the fight. It doesn't matter to me. I look at you. I don't look at your face. I look at your actions when when I'm fighting. So, I mean, honestly, it was a very fun experience. I've never had that. Not at this level. I haven't had that kind of fight before. So it was cool to experience that and have a more of a mental fight against myself the whole time. Kind of saying like, oh, you're a thug, but I'm an artist. So let's see who wins.
Now, here's a question that I'm curious about, because we can't pick these things up on the television. But was he talking trash to you? Because I think you just kind of alluded to that.
I don't think I would call it trash. He would just say like, "Oh, that was close," or "Oh, that was fast." Like, kind of like trying to get in my head and say like, "Oh, you was happy there." But like that progressive commercial where the guy has the fishing reel, like the fishing pole, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna be quicker than that," like that. But I think that's just the way he is. You know, I can't. He's a man. I can't complain about the way he is. But it was a, like I said, it was a fun experience. It was different than what I've had in the past. So yeah, he does his thing. He talks. You know, it is what it is.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm just a proficient trash talker myself, so I understand it. And usually I use the trash talk because I'm like, this person's got a really good guard, and I will literally make fun of them until they give me an opening. So I understand that world. It's fine. I'm just using what I've been given, and jokes are my thing. So I'm not going to hate on it. I would just tell you this, though. I think that you're right in terms of how styles make for a different clash. And one thing that I saw was, in terms of head movement, he kept trying to get you to look directly at him. And that does seem like part of a statistical or a little bit of a strategy for him, because he gets people to play into his game, and that's where he finds his opening. And I think that you stayed very consistent on avoiding that, or not really getting into that game, but instead implementing your own. So it was very fascinating to watch, because you mentioned, wrestling and how important that is. And that was a very heavy stand-up match.
Yeah. No, for sure. This whole event showed me, I feel like more than anything, it was a strategic and technical bracket in which you had to have a certain game plan for each opponent, but also be ready for anything, because everybody kind of does a little bit of everything. It was more top game, like more wrestlers, but you got some leg lock entries, you got some guard passers. So yeah, this event showed me that my wrestling is getting better, but I still have a lot to work on if I want to be where I want to be. And I have Wagner to thank for that fight, because it showed me that I have some things to work on, but I also know that I have some good some good weapons up my sleeves that I just need to sharpen up more.
Yeah, good for you, man. And where's the check? Did you have to fold it because you're about to go to the airport? How do you fold that one up? Does it go into your carry-on? Do you just kind of go, "Oh, sorry, I didn't put this in my bag. That's my personal item."
Nah, unfortunately, I couldn't take the big check with me.
Oh,
I had to
boo.
stay. Yeah, but it's okay. I got the check, which is helpful.
What does one do with the money? Like, do you splurge? Do you buy yourself something nice? Because, you worked really hard for that. I always think there's something symbolic you can give yourself. Have you figured out what you're going to kind of give yourself as like
No,
a nice little thing?
no, I don't care. I don't really care for material things. I care more about food. I'm gonna spend the money on some food like yesterday night and when I get home so I can have a good lunch or dinner with my family and put most of the money aside for helping some kids that I promised to help, and the rest is gonna stay with me to keep uh, funding my training and help myself be able to live this lifestyle.
Let's talk a little bit about you wanting to help kids, because I've seen you put up posts about this. Where did the aspect of trying to be a philanthropist or try to help others start to?
I don't like that. I don't believe in philanthropists. I am just a human being that wants to, just like people believed in me at one point and decided to have the the blue belt juvenile kid teach a seminar at their gym or bring me. I had the opportunity to go to Ecuador to be able to just train, or go to Philippines to see the level of poverty there and how people are still training jiu-jitsu. That's what I feel like. I've been able to see these sides of life, and if I have the opportunity to, I want to give back to the people that really do need help instead of like I know I've been blessed in my life to be able to live the life that I have now. And I know there's other kids like that in our community, in our jiu-jitsu community. So I've been able to see who needs help and who doesn't. And, everybody has their own journey, and the right people fall into each other's lives. So I hope that I can fall into people's lives that really need help. And that's it. I don't feel like I'm a philanthropist or anything like that. Well, I mean, I just want to help people like people have helped me.
I mean, at its core, it shares a similar maybe perspective. It just may be different on how you're doing it. It sounds more like you feel like what you see community-based is where you're most applicable to helping people, like directly with people that you've seen or that you've trained with, especially from jiu-jitsu side.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like jiu-jitsu is one of the few sports that connects people around the world, and you have if you wish to, you have the opportunity to see other people's struggles. So you can take that however you want. You can take it just as a motivation to inspire yourself to keep working, or you can take it as I take it as a man. If if I have my own reaction towards it, I take it like one day if I have the opportunity to, I want to come back to this place and give jiu-jitsu to the people that have never seen it, that may benefit from it, not only as a sport, but as something else in life, might even in life. Because I know I have had a privileged life, and even like that, I see jiu-jitsu as my life that has given me more meaning to be able to keep going forward and just be motivated to live day by day.
Well, I think you're doing a good job of being honest with how you want to do it, and you are forging your own path. And I think that that's an impressive thing to watch. I have a friend who has put up posts that are very similar to you in terms of like, hey man, I see poverty. I want to do my help. I want to do my best. Am I cutting out? Because you're cutting out a little on my side as well. Do you want to try to exit out of the thing and then come back in? My apologies to all of you who are watching right now. Just a little bit. Yep. Roberto, I think, is probably going to try and sign in. I'm just going to go ahead and blame Texas for this. Seems about fair. But if you are just joining us right now, we're talking with one young Roberto Jimenez. Very excited to discuss with him about his accomplishments, not just this weekend, but for the past several weekends. He's been putting out some of the most exciting matches that we've had, especially in this age where we're not getting a lot of people competing. So we appreciate him for coming on. We're going to look for him hopefully to sign back in a second. But until then, I think it's a good time to remind you guys, have you signed up to watch us? Have you signed up to like and subscribe, all of the things for us here at Grappling Hour? It is a huge, huge help when you do. So give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscription. You can find us at Grappling Hour on all the major platforms. We're talking YouTube subscription. We're talking Twitter follow and tweets and all that sort of stuff. Twitch at Grappling Hour. Facebook at Grappling Hour, which is probably where you're watching this. So I guess that makes things pretty easy. And of course, on Periscope as well. You can find us on any of those platforms. We come in, we try to do at least once a week, but we normally go on Tuesdays, but our good friend over here was available today and we are making do. We are also happy to report it does look like this week we will later be able to speak with one Kay Hansen. That is important information that I am finding. She just messaged us back, so we're going to try and do that straight off of her win that got the attention of one Ronda Rousey on her triangle armbar finish. She is a friend of the show, and I could not be happier for her UFC debut because she is quite excellent at what she does. So in the meantime, I'm just telling you guys, if you didn't get the chance to go ahead and see Roberto at any part of the Kumite, I would highly encourage you guys to go on over to Flow Grappling, give it a view, watch how this kid was not only navigating 3 different entire styles, but the way in which he approached it. He's been consistent on his ability to get triangle attacks. He's been consistent in his ability to give us exciting matches. And he matched up style-wise very differently with Ty, with John Combs, and with Wagner Hocha, which I thought were 3 very compellingly different cases and styles, and I think indicative of what this young man has to do. Plus, I believe that we're also going to be seeing him compete very soon at a couple other things. He's obviously looking at ADCC, and I believe he's also looking at a potential September Miami sort of event for the Abu Dhabi, which is going to be something else that's going on that way. So keep a lookout for those things. I also want to go ahead and bring up a couple things. We can't overlook his performances. We only very briefly touched on his performance at Submission Underground, but it was consistent. It was smooth. Not just 1, but 2. We actually reached out with him back at late May. Sorry. This thing has been going on for so long, it feels like it's been 6 months. We reached out to him at late May after he won at Submission Underground 14 to see if he would be interested in coming on this show. And we were very lucky to go ahead and put it off a few weeks so that he can go concentrate on his travels and his competition for his other things. And I mean, we've seen him compete at the other Kumite. We saw him compete at Jits Kings, which was phenomenal. I thought him versus William Tackett had a stylistically fun match to watch because you saw William come out completely trying to go for the legs. You saw Roberto's trying to set up consistently on his passing and looking very, very, very solid as he was doing his attacks. So he's been giving us a lot of very fun things to watch out over the past few weeks. And in case you guys are not familiar with him, he is training over out of Studio 76 that is in Las Vegas. So he is one of the best kind of training areas possible. And I think it's one of those things that you just get to see how the kid does in a very, very cool setting. I know that he's been training a little bit with fellow friends of the show, one Hanato Kanuto and Mikey Musumesi, who are very good. I don't know if there's any way to put it, but if these guys are the future and they've trained together, you feel very strongly about the future of jiu-jitsu and what it is that they're able to do because, man, they've been putting out some hella good matches if you guys haven't seen them. And I am excited to see people like Kaduto eventually return to something like Kasai because that event is monstrous and super good. So we'll give him a couple more minutes. I totally understand. Sometimes these things fluctuate in and out. I still have a couple more questions if he's able to, but if we are not able to finish it out today, I'm sure we will talk with him again in the near future. He is definitely going to be flying back on over to Las Vegas this weekend, or at least that's what I believe he's flying to. I would just assume he's going home. But of course, the kid is he talented. He good. So here's what I've got for you guys. We have a series of also fight companions. You can watch us discussing his matches along with everything else from this weekend's Third Coast Grappling. It is on our fight companion side. We gave the young man a couple cheers for his submissions the past few weeks because we always reward those who get submissions with a toast live on air. So we're very happy to present that and give them the due diligence that they deserve. You can catch that along with our UFC fight companion that we did over the weekend. That was for UFC 4 in Vegas. That's where we saw Kay Hansen get her amazing armbar triangle. But we also have been keeping up with basically every UFC that's going on. This weekend, there is no series of fighting that's happening. There's no Bellator, there's no UFC, there's no nothing. So we're going to take this weekend off. But when we return the next week, we will be doing a fight companion with the gang for UFC 251, which will be the first event from Fight Island. And I'm very excited for that one. So that'll be a lot of fun. And I hope that you guys will tune in and enjoy us because those things are so much fun, dude. Every time we do a fight companion, we learn a little bit more, not about ourselves, but about how bored we are all at home. And I see that most of you guys have sifted off. So maybe you know something that I don't. Either way, I've given this kid, I'm putting a stop clock on this. This kid has 2 minutes because I can vamp for 2 minutes. And if he does not return, we will go ahead and call it. So, Roberto, if you're watching this, I have put an APB out for you. I totally understand if you need to get going. No big deal. But I still have more questions for you. All right. What do I got to say to you guys? Also, you can catch our next episode of Verbal Tap. We will be filming that tomorrow night. Very excited to get back to work with one Kevin Phillips. We have a lot to talk about from this weekend, not just Roberto's performance, but other people's as well. So we'll chat a little bit about that. We've also got the UFC to go over. I think I should probably try and line up a guest for that one. Good note to self. This isn't just an exploration of my brain, it's an exploration of the things that I have to do. You guys are helping me create my to-do list. Do I have to do laundry? Probably. So anyway, before I go, if you guys have any comments, questions, hints, concerns, or allegations, hit me up in the comment section. I'm happy to answer your questions before I get on out of here. But it was a fascinating conversation, if that is going to be the end of it, with one Roberto Jimenez. The kid's good, man. Proud of him. Very excited about his future. Every time I run into I always feel like he's just beasting it a little bit more than he did before. And I got to tell you, man, I think the future is bright with him. He's got something that he's carving out here. In the meantime, follow us at all social media platforms at Grappling Hour on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch. Did I say Instagram? I don't know. At a certain point, I should probably just write these down and put them on my computer and kind of work from that off. But yes. Yeah, but I don't know that we'll get to that point. All right, Roberto, you're coming up on the last of this. I got 20 seconds to fill before I got to call this thing. You know what it is? He tapped out. That's what we're going to say. So I actually now have a win over Roberto because he tapped out of the interview. It's just the way the rules go, bro. Listen, I'm not going to beat him at grappling, so I'm going to call this a win. I would say I probably submitted him by armbar. I want to pick one that he'd be like, there's no way I'd get caught with that. Yeah, that's what I beat him with. So anyway, my thanks to you guys. Roberto will get to finish out an interview and a conversation at a time in which there is not Texas cell phone technology that is ruining it for us. I thank you guys for watching here today. My deepest appreciation to everybody. We will be back a little bit later this week, hopefully Wednesday-ish, to talk with Kay Hansen and give you guys a little bit of fun details about her win over the weekend at UFC. But that's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. My thanks to all of you guys for watching. We have so much appreciation for you guys. And do not forget, support your friends, support your gyms, find ways to support local businesses as we continue to go through this COVID thing and we navigate it together. My name's Rafa Esparza. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll catch you back on the mats eventually.